In terms of pure emotion and pure kind of bemusement that I got 100, and the kind of what happened in that week for my life, I will never ever forget that moment I cut Harvard down for 4. That pure joy of scoring 100 for England, and to do it in your second innings, it was such a special moment for me. It was whirlwind. I remember, I suppose fate always has something to do with it, looking back now. But the fact that Dave Parsons, who was part of the academy, and I was lying on a beach in Antigua, and he said, when have you set a goal of when you wanted to play for England? And I said, well, no, I just want to have the opportunity to play. And that was a week before I scored 100. You looked at the England side, and I'd been on a tour as an injury replacement to Pakistan before, but the side looked settled, and didn't look like for a few years that anyone else would get a chance. So, and then a week later to flying around the world, make your debut and score 100. It was surreal. It was a surreal week, and yeah, I suppose for me it took. You compare it to Johnny Bairstow once there, who waited so long to get 100. To do it straight away, for me, just gave me so much confidence that I could play at this level, to play at the international level, and help me so much. So I was grateful that a couple of drop catches on the way, and yeah. I'd pick the first one at Lords, just because it's like the second, like one was a fluke, two's not quite so much of a fluke, if that makes sense. So yeah, to me the second one, it was a dreadful innings. I think I was out 3 times, should have been out 3 times and dropped twice or something. So I can't say it was any good, but to score 100 at Lords, and I think it was probably my 6th Test match or something. So it was a while after my first one in terms of timing, and the first one could have just been one of those flukes, couldn't it? So the second one to get it proved to me that actually I can play at this level. Whether you never feel quite like you belong at international cricket, but to score your second one is like, yeah, I am good enough to play here. Obviously, lose 5-0 that game, but against that attack as a 21-year-old opener batting, actually that was a. I only averaged 20 odd in that series, but then to score 100 against that attack away from home, I thought was, that was in terms of confidence for me personally. I know the next 2 games I didn't get many, but actually to score 100 against Warren, McGrath, Brett Lee at Perth, Stuart Clark, a really good bowling attack gave me, actually. The bowling won't get any better than that, like in terms of quality you face. To score runs there, it just gave me confidence. I must have thought I could play a little bit. Again, part of the cycle of batting, I think. I looked to try after 2009. I changed my technique. So I thought against the highest, because again I had 2 Ashes series, and the 2 times I played against the best side, I'd only averaged 20 odd. So I felt as if I had to change my technique to improve. And if against, again I'd scored a few hundreds, but my 13th definitely was the most important. But actually I stripped off. I went back to my old technique. So I kind of accepted this as a player I was going to be. Yes, you can always improve your technique, but I tried to change it dramatically. I scored a few runs against Bangladesh, got a couple of hundreds there, and I scored 100 against South Africa in Durban with that technique. So it wasn't dreadful, but I didn't feel very natural doing it. And then after, when I really struggled to score any runs, went back to my old technique, and it kind of happened. And I think when you have a bit of a low run, when you don't score any runs, when you're in a bit of form, you make the most of it. So I think for that 2010, 2011 was kind of, you're talking about being an established player. I felt I was an established player without really delivering like goods constantly, if that makes sense. Like the 2009 Ashes, I didn't score a huge amount of runs either, but in between times, 100 in Sri Lanka. I think I'd obviously scored. I think the one when I started that series, it was my 14th Test 100, so it wasn't as if I hadn't scored a huge amount of runs. But the 2010-11 series, kind of when I felt I went from I took another step as a cricketer. Those 2 years, actually I went from a cricketer who was okay to a bit better than that, and scored 700 runs in the Ashes. And he kind of went back probably to before Pakistan, that Pakistan 100 at the Oval, kind of when people were saying I should get dropped, then to score that and then kind of go straight in there and do whatever happened in Australia. That was kind of, I think, made me the kind of, not the player I am, but as in kind of pushed me up a bit higher. And again, the India as a first Test tour to go to score 300s in a row. I suppose I am proud of actually a couple of our big away wins. I've been man of the series, and that's been, I think that's probably my proudest little achievement on a selfish point of view. To score those 300s in India, the 300s in Australia, to two places that are very hard to win, to have played significant parts of that. I'm proud of that. I've got a good record on the subcontinent. I don't know why. I must mean that I can play the spin pretty well, but I can never really dominate it, but I can stick around and bat a long period of time. So, but for me, I suppose my career I've managed to always, when I've been out of form, managed to get 30s and 40s to keep myself in the team. And then when I'm in form, I had the ability to kind of go bang, 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 and score a few hundreds in a row, and hopefully I can have another couple of bursts of them. Again, there are moments for which stand out, which for no apparent reason, not for no apparent reason, but without like a major score. And that one, walking out for the toss, when I won the toss and batted, and it was just that week that the support the crowd in Southampton gave me. I saw Rod Bransgrove at a dinner after we'd lost to Lords, and he sat next to me and he said, "Don't worry, we've got it all sorted at Southampton for you." And I know he hadn't had that many. He's only had a couple of Test matches there, but he was so confident that I was going to score runs and England going to win. And the way when he said, "Don't worry, we got it sorted, we got it covered." I don't know why, but we had a really good week, and the 40 not out at lunch, as if I'd scored 440, and it meant a lot that actually, with all the other stuff going on at this time, that actually behind what was being said on Twitter and in the media, that it felt like the people who actually cared about the English cricket and the English Test team wanted me to carry on as captain. And it was one of my regrets pulling that one down the leg side and not sweeping it, because I don't quite know I might have cried, I think, if I'd have got 100 there, because the reception I got for 50 and the reception I got for 95, I think the whole crowd was gutted I didn't get the other 5.